What's good, people? It's Nathan here from Cryo UK Sheffield, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you a self-activation sequence follow along from BeActivated Therapy. Now, if you've never had BeActivated Therapy or you've never been in for an activation session, this may not make much sense and it might be hard to follow. However, you can still join in and get the amazing benefits from the sequence. Now, usually when we do this, we do each point individually. However, in this video, we're going to be doing them at the same time to try and speed it up and get it done in under 20 minutes. Now, if you feel like you need to get a little bit added more depth on certain points, or you want to focus on one area, just pause the video, hit the other side, and then just continue afterwards. So let's get into it. So guys, we're going to focus on each activation point for 30 seconds, okay? So we're going to start off with the diaphragm. Now the diaphragm is the longest area to activate as it has the most activation points, okay? So in order to activate the diaphragm, the first point is we're going to come up and along the rib cage. So we're going to get started in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So we're just going up and along the rib cage, all the way up to the sternum, and then just back down. So we're just going to keep rubbing into that area. And keep going. So last 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So then we're going to go up onto the sternum now. We're going to come all the way up to the top and then back down again. Okay, so for this activation point, we actually call it the upside down Y, obviously, because if you look at the diaphragm from that point of view, it creates that upside down Y shape. Okay, so keep going. Last 5 seconds, and we're going to go to the next point, which is going to be here, just underneath the collarbone. Okay, so rub into there. Now, you can tell when you found an activation point because it is quite tender and it hurts a little bit. So don't be scared if it hurts, guys, it's supposed to. So make sure you just get into that and rub into it. Generally, if a point is hurting more than other areas, then it means it needs more work. Okay, so we're going to go into the glutes next in 5 seconds. So the first point for the glutes is the space between the jaw and the earlobe there. So rub into it on both sides. Now this one is a very tender spot, guys. So like I said, don't shy away from the pain. If it's hurting, it means it needs more work. So really, really get into it if you can. Okay. So keep rubbing. So last 10 seconds on this point. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we're going to go to the next glute point, which is at the base of the skull and into the back of the neck. So if you just rub around there, you'll hit the point. So we're just following along the base of the skull and in and up and down the back of the neck. I'll show you again. So we've got 10 seconds, okay, so keep going. So we're going to do the hip flexors now. So there's 2 ways you can find this. You can go inch down, inch aside, inch down for the belly button, or find the top of the hip and halfway in between on both sides. So let's go, 30 seconds. So keep rubbing into those points. And this will be the last zone 1 point. So we've just done the diaphragm, we've done the glutes, and now we're finishing off on the psoas, the hip flexors. We've got last 10 seconds and we're going to go in to the quads. So the next point is the quads is called the Peter Pan points. Okay, we call it Peter Pan because Peter Pan stands like this. I'm going to focus on that space between the hip and the rib cage. So just rub into there. So this is the first of the 2 points for the quads, okay? So just keep rubbing into there, rubbing in. And the next one, while you guys continue, I'll show you the next one. If we find this muscle here on our leg, which we call the VMO, this little fat teardrop muscle, there's a little gap, and we're going to go up into there. So off you go. So you want to come up and along this muscle. So there's a line here which you can feel where the quads basically end and the adductors start. So the main area is up here, but if you want to rub up and along into it all, and it should be a little bit tender. So now we're going to go onto the other side. So this is one of those areas which we can't really do at the same time. We've got to kind of really focus on one area. So as I said at the start of the video, if you feel any tender points or anywhere you need to focus on more, make sure you hit those points, make sure you hit those spots, okay? So really focus and get into there. So next one is going to be the abs. I'm going to step back for this one. So all we're going to do is just quickly rub up and down our legs like so. And this is going to get the abs activated and switched on and firing. Make sure you go all the way up to the top of the groin and back down. And that will really get them switched on and firing. So as you are doing that for the last 10 seconds, we're going to go on to the hamstrings. So to find the hamstrings, you're going to find the pointy part of your hip, which we call the PSIS. And you're just going to give them a little rub. Okay, so the PSIS stands for posterior superior iliac spine. Okay, so we're just going to rub into that. Very two bony bits. If you can use the thumb or you can use the back of your knuckles, whichever is best for you, whichever helps. Okay, so we're going to go into the next point now. So this is still the hamstrings, and we're just going to go onto the top of the glutes. So we got 3, 2, 1. Then switch over. So just into the top of the glutes here. At the back. So you really feel it. Like I said, most of these points, guys, are quite tender. Okay, so if you feel a tender spot, like I said, don't shy away from it. Rub into it. Okay, so last 5 seconds on this one. So the next one we're going to go to is the pelvic floor muscles, and that's just on our tailbone. So we're just going to rub up and down our tailbone like so. Okay, up and down. This looks very awkward from this angle. As you can see, I'm literally just rubbing up and down my tailbone like that. Okay, so last 10 seconds, and then the next point. So next point, carry on doing that, is for our calf muscles, which is just here. So you're just going to come just above your, just above the hip and the pelvis, and you're just going to rub with the back of the knuckles into the muscle located next to the spine. Okay, so you want to be on the outside of it, so you don't want to be in touching your spine. It's on the opposite and outside area to that. Okay, so just keep rubbing up on that. Again, you can use the back of your knuckles or your thumbs. Okay, so the next point we're going to go to is our lats. So if we just follow here, find our belly button and come up, and we'll just go into our lats from there. So 30 seconds, let's go. So sorry, I didn't explain that too well. So 45 degrees up from the belly button to our ribs. Now lat points are just there. Come all along. If you don't want to miss it, use the base of your hand like that and just come all the way along. Okay, so the next point we're going to go to is our is the lateral sling. So to find the lateral sling, we find the ASIS, which is opposite to the PSIS, anterior superior iliac spine. We're going to go north, east, south, and west. Okay, so let's go straight into it. So 30 seconds into this. So we're going to start off at the north. Now, as we move along, it depends whichever side, east and west, is going to be on, because as we're going to go opposite side to opposite side, we're going to be on west on one side and east on the other. Okay, so just as we go along, just remember that: north, east, south and west. So we start at north, 30 seconds into that. This is for our lateral sling. Okay, so next one, onto the side, just from that bony bit. So if you look at the side bits here, Remember, you can always, if you're struggling to find the point, it's always that tender spot, okay? Tender spot means the activation point is there and it needs a little bit of work. So like I said, don't shy away from it. Get into it. So last 5 seconds, we're going to go to the south, which is just underneath. So just here, off you go. Rub into that. You can really feel it on this one. So sometimes the feedback that I get from clients is it hurts a lot more when I do it as opposed to when they do it. Just carry on with that. I'm just going to touch my screen as opposed to when I do it. So 5 seconds. All right, we're going to go into the east. So north, south, east. So north, south, done east, and we're going to do west. So west or east, whichever side you're on. So feedback I get from clients is it doesn't feel as tender and as intense when I do it. But the way I compare it is like it's like tickling yourself. So if you tickle yourself, because your body has that sensory input, like you can't tickle yourself basically. So it's that same thing. It doesn't feel as awkward when someone else is putting the pressure on, or when you're putting the pressure on as opposed to someone else. So next spot is the calf. So we're going to find our belly button, rib cage, halfway in between on each side. Off you go. 30 seconds into that. Really give it a rub and a little bit of a digging in. So as well guys, for some of these points they're a little bit difficult, so if you want to get a little bit more extra added depth, use something like the end of a pen, end of a wooden spoon in order to get a little bit of added depth into that area. Okay, so for example, if I use this highlighter, I'll find the point there and just dig into it. So you can use like highlighter, wooden spoon, hairbrush, anything you've got along the house. Use something like that just to get into it a little bit more. So next point is the tibialis anterior and the calf muscle. So I'm going to step back for this. So we're going to find this point here. So just below and to the outside of the tibia and just on the calf muscle. So we're going to do 2 like this. Off we go. So I'm going to step back so you can see. Turn to the side. So really give both edges a little rub into there. So last 5 seconds. Okay, so the next one we're going to go into is for the shoulder muscle. So we're just going to rub up to the side of our rib cage. So again, we've got back onto the points now. So what we're going to be doing from now is all the shoulder muscles. And due to us doing all this arm and shoulder muscles and shoulder movements, we won't actually be able to do them both at the same time. So we're going to do each one of these individually now. So make sure you're going all the way up into the armpit and switch sides. So yeah, up and along the rib cage, all the way into the armpit and back down. So we're going to get 30 seconds in there. So halfway there on this point. So the reference point, turn to the side. Okay, and the next point that we're going to do is we're just going to come underneath the pec. Okay, so again we're going to go back and forth underneath the pec muscle. So you can use your fingers, base of your knuckle. I prefer to use the base of my knuckle because you feel like you can get a little bit more depth into that. So all the way up and along. Last 5. And now we're going to go on to the next point. Off you go. Sorry for the faces that I'm pulling as well. So all the way along. Okay, so the next one shoulder. And we're just going to rub into the gap between the deltoid and the pectoral. So the deltoid is our shoulder muscle. So we're just going to rub into that gap, up and along. So we got 10 seconds before we switch sides. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and switch. 30 seconds. This one. So this is for the supraspinatus in our rotator cuff muscle. So one of the muscles in our rotator cuff. This is going to get that switched on, activated and firing. And the next one is going to be for the pec. So we're just going to come halfway under our collarbone and we're going to rub into there. So for this one we can use both hands again. So it's like halfway between our collarbone. If you want to, you can move up and down just to make sure you don't miss it. But usually if you can find that really tender spot in the middle of your collarbone, that is it. Okay, so last 5 seconds, and then we're going to be going into the middle of our pec. Okay, so directly in the middle of the pec, you will feel this. Okay, as soon as you put your finger on it, you'll know. You'll know where it is. Okay, so another 30 seconds, just rubbing into that. And that will be those muscles switched on. And firing, so these are for the neck muscles in our neck. These ones here, which we call the SCM. So just keep rubbing into those. Okay, so the next one, we need to find our scapula, so which is this kind of pizza shaped muscle, triangular shaped muscle, and we're just going to rub into the edge of it there. So right on the edge of that bone, or what most people call it is the shoulder blade. So the shoulder blade, the scapula, we're just going to rub into the side of that. Okay. With this one, it's a little bit difficult to reach if you're not flexible enough. So sometimes you might just want to bend down to get into it. Okay, so switch to the other side. Again, so edge of it, edge of the shoulder blade, just right into it. And again, like I said, if you need to, bend down, helps you just get that little bit extra reach around the muscle, around the body and into that area. Okay, so we're going to be focusing on the scapula and the shoulder blade again. But this one time, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go dead center. And this one you need to be really flexible. You can use your other arm to sort of bring it across. Or again, you can bend down and that will help you get into it. So we're going to focus in dead center of the shoulder blade now. Okay, so we've got 10 seconds at this point. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now switch sides. So I struggle with this one because my flexibility is not as good on this side. So I'm trying to work into it again. Up and down, helps me get into it a little bit easier. So we've got 15 seconds left on this one. And then we've got the very last spot. So 15 seconds, 5 seconds, sorry, 3, 2, 1. And this is for our jaw. So we're just literally going to follow our jawline. So if we come to here, right in the corner on both sides, we're going to rub into it. And then we're just going to come up and along the jaw, up into the temple, and then back down again. Okay, just checking the timer. So keep going. So last 10 seconds. Up into temple. And that is it. So guys, that is the self-activation session. Okay, so that is it, finished. Okay, feel how you feel, just lift, check a few movements, you know, bend down, touch his toes, twist side to side. You may find you're able to do a few things that you weren't before, and you may feel a lot looser from that. Okay, so that was the self-activation sequence, BeActivated self-activation sequence in under 20 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you find it useful. Like I said, guys, if you go back through it and you want to focus on each point individually, pause the video, work on that, or if there's areas which are more tender, work on those spots too. Okay, so much appreciated. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and follow us on all social media platforms. Okay, so thanks again, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.